Welcome back to the Witch's Way podcast. I'm Kat.
And I'm Jamie. And tonight, we're getting real fucking real. That's like the best way we can say this. We've had a hell of real AF. We've had a hell of a couple months with some stuff, and we are finally ready to dive into it a little bit. So this is a very off character
Brand, maybe?
We're off brand right now with this
slightly,
podcast.
well, I don't know. Slightly off brand. Usually our lessons, usually our podcasts have some kind of like learning component to them. Right. So we're always like sharing stuff.
Yeah. Tonight we're doing this is about our real lives. And this has been.
There will probably be crying. There will definitely be F-bombs.
I've already been crying. My eyes are already puffy. It's already happened. We're already talking through stuff. But listen, we've just gone through a lot and we haven't been ready to share up until this point. And we have a lot of things to
open up about, to let you know what's going on. And I personally, and I think we want to apologize because we have fallen behind on some of our witch work.
So much.
We had so many plans to do things. We had, we were going to launch Witch School. We were going to re-record videos. We were going to get our Instagram going. With just all these things that we wanted to
Facebook.
do.
We just changed our name at the beginning of the year. We had all the things ready to go.
We had this huge plan, right?
And it was so neatly packaged, and there was a little bow on it, and it was beautiful, and we loved it. And we were both like high-fiving and cheersing. We loved it.
Yeah, we were so ready to go.
And then
real life hit us.
And then life was like, hey, we really love that you're doing well. How about a 1-2 fucking knock you out a little bit?
Listen, it's so bad when we went to Casadega and had our cards read. Jamie's only question for the cards was, what the fuck? Universe, what the fuck? Universe, what the fuck?
Universe, what the fuck?
Because that is how much shit has been going on. So first of all, apologies for anybody who's been waiting on Witch School to launch.
Yes.
Apologies for not getting What the Heck's newsletter out last month, and I'm behind this month. I think by the end of this, you'll kind of understand, but still, I do feel like I feel a responsibility to. Of
course, I do too. Are you kidding?
We do to our people that we love you guys, and
we want to do so much for you. We have so much to give. We want to offer just so much to our community, to our coven, to our witches. Mm-hmm. And I think that for Kat and I, we're perfectionists. We can say that.
We are totally perfectionists.
To a fault. And when we're not able to put forth all the effort that we want to, when we lack energy, when life just, I'm not going to say life has beaten us down, because that's not really it. Life has given us opportunities to grow in different ways than we planned for. And that is what life does sometimes.
That's a really nice way to put what's been going on. But I think there is actually maybe lessons or else insights in here for other people who are like, when your life gets so topsy-turvy and you just cannot spend time on your practice or on your spiritual side of your life, if you can't do that, are you still a witch? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Can you set your practice down or to the side and take care of all the things that come at you in this life the way that they do? And the answer to that is yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so I think if anything to take away from this, I hope that that's the message that we're able to get to at the end of all of this, is to say that even when you have to step back from your practice for a while, when you're not doing the things, you're like, oh, I used to meditate, or I used to journal, I
used to take a walk in my garden every morning.
All these things that were such a beautiful part of your daily practices, and then sometimes life just you
don't end up having the energy for those things because life gets overwhelming, and then you feel defeated. And I think what we really want to help you guys do is that when shit hits the fan, when life feels really hard, don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up about the things that you're not doing, that you're like, I should be doing this. That's my practice. I dedicated myself. I committed. we're going to miss commitments. And that's one of the things that we're owning up to is like, we've missed commitments we made and we feel like shit about it, but we're not going to beat ourselves up. We're just going to be like, hey, we're confronting this. Let's do the shadow work around that. How are we feeling about missing these things and letting what we think? Nobody's even said, you've really let me down right now. I'm so disappointed
somebody
in you.
asked me about which school and I felt so much guilt.
Okay, but they didn't say, you've really let me down. I was waiting on this.
No,
My
but
life
I felt
depends
like that.
on it. See, but this is the punishment we do to ourselves, right? Like we put it in our mind what other people are thinking about us and what we're doing and how good we're doing or if we're not doing good. And that's probably not true. 90% of the time it's not true. We make that shit up in our heads and we beat ourselves up about it. And this goes for relationships, jobs, personal growth, like all the things we're doing where we just don't feel good enough. And when you make a commitment and then you don't do it, I mean, that's definitely like, you probably aren't feeling good about that. But you can learn from it and you can learn to not like hate yourself or beat yourself up or say, fuck it, I'm just gonna give up. I can't do this anymore. I'm a failure. I failed, so now I just give up all the way. Like we're doing the thing where it's like, get back on the bike, get back on the horse, whatever they say. What's the saying?
Yeah.
You get back on the horse.
Get back on the horse,
Get on the sled, get in the ice skates, the roller rink, whatever it is that you do.
Yeah.
You gotta decide that like this break was necessary and it wasn't necessarily my choice, but it was necessary. And I choose to, when the time is right, like right now, things have slowed down for me a lot. That's why I'm able to talk about everything right now today. But things slowed down and now I'm like, I'm going to reinvigorate those goals. My goals are still my goals. I still want so much. I still want things for me, for you guys, to put things out into the world, to be that witch teacher, to like show my practice of all these fucking years. Like it needs to get out there. I don't want to keep it inside of me.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do. We're going to not beat ourselves up. We're going to reflect over and be like, wow, how did I handle my failure? Because that's a judgment on you. You decide if it's a failure or not. And then how do you move forward from that failure?
So I want to take you back to early March. Is anybody following astrology? I signed up. I don't know if I mentioned this yet, but I signed up for an astrology course with Chris Brennan, who runs the astrology podcast, who I really, really like. It's Hellenistic astrology. So I've been studying that because I decided this is what I want to do.
She committed to learning
to learning it because, and as I move into the last phase of my life, my retirement phase, this is something that I feel like I could offer to people.
It's also the crone phase.
Yeah, it's
this is where you are really becoming the teacher. You have so much experience. Like you know how to do it. Yeah.
So anyway, if anybody was following astrology, you'll know that they were talking about how things are really going to get crazy March and April and June and May and March, April, May, and maybe settle down by the time we get to June, right? That's kind of what's been predicted just because of all the planets in alignment. Well, early March we had my husband had a medical emergency that just kind of threw our lives upside down. And you know, nobody knows when something like appendicitis is going to come on, or you break a leg, or you fall downstairs, or whatever happens where it's just this freak thing. I have to adjust my pillow really quick. It's like not in the right place. Okay, there, that's better. I had to adjust too.
It wasn't quite comfortable. So we had this just out of the blue medical emergency for him, and it really... It made everything go back to what's truly important, you know, and when you love somebody so much and that person is on the brink of like, you know, you get a high staph infection and you're like, what the hell do we do with this? You take a step back from everything and you decide that person and their recovery and their health is like your most important thing, and you're there every single day that they're in the hospital, and you're just, you know, all you're thinking is about how they're going to recover and how we're going to never take our time for granted, and, you know, just the movement of our bodies that we take for granted, you know, being able to walk up and down stairs, being able to run a mile or whatever, walk the beach in the morning, all the little things you take for granted every day because they're just part of your routine. When something happens and that person is immobilized, you're like, oh my God, I just want to see you walk again. I just want to see you out on the beach again. I just want to see you healthy again. And that
you want to see normalcy.
Yeah, you look for the new normal.
You want normalcy to reach. You want life to go back to the way it was before that event happened.
Absolutely. And then moving forward, it's like, what's the new normal now? How do we recover from this? How long is he, you know, down for or whatever? So that happened in early March, and recovery is great. Listen, everything is great. It's all going very, very well. There's nothing to worry about. And, I can hear all of you guys right now as this is coming out, like, oh my gosh, hopes and prayers, love and light, all the things. And thank you for that. I know that you guys want the best for us and our loved ones, as we want the best for you and your loved ones. But everything is really going great. So
it's going well, but
great. No, it's going great. I think it's going great.
Okay.
Why well for you? She's less. You sound less optimistic than me. What the hell? What's going on?
Well, because I've seen him so much in his I've never seen him sort of what I'm going to say is slightly. It's not incapacitated. That's not it. It's
he's restricted.
He's slightly diminished from what he was a couple of weeks before that,
and he hates it.
This is
like makes the man with bravado. He is like the man, and he hates having to slow down.
Listen, it impacts everything.
It does. It makes my world really different because now, there's just more caretaking on my part with him because he can't do everything that he used to do right now. Right now, like by June, it's going to be 100%. Yeah. It's going to be 100% by June.
Like
we're going to be fine.
Bit slower. He's my age.
Yeah.
So he's my age. So recovery's a little bit slower as you get older.
We got to be careful, He's not a spring chicken.
Exactly. my point exactly. So that was early March. That was early March.
And then on April 1st.
Was it April 1st?
It was actually April 1st, yeah.
Oh my God, that's April not 1st. Even funny.
I know, because April 1st.
I didn't know that it was April 1st.
It was April 1st, yes.
Fuck.
April 1st.
Here we go.
This really threw me because my son has epilepsy. Most of you guys know that, but he was at my house. We were doing yard work together, just kind of a normal Tuesday, and all of a sudden, he's having a seizure, and usually that's like he's having a seizure, we know what to do, it's not a medical emergency, but for this seizure, for whatever reason, Cameron stopped breathing, and I gave him his nose spray that's basically supposed to stop seizures or slow them down and all that. He was unresponsive to that. He started turning really blue, and I was just like, call 911. That was it. You don't wait a long time when these things are going on. You kind of know, all right, he's coming out of it or he's not. So called 911, taken in the ambulance. Again, this is also kind of normal. He's been taken off in the ambulance for his seizures many, many times. Mm-hmm. So this part was not scary. I was like, he's going to go to the ER. They give him a different, they give him a medication that goes in through his blood. It's quicker than everything else. But when I got up there, then it was like, he's still not breathing. He's not responding to medication. He's not stopped seizing. So this seizure lasted, 45 minutes, an hour. Now he's getting into like the brain damage kind of, it got worrisome all of a sudden. I'm like, wait, what? Why would this happen? This is an abnormal seizure. The next day, so I'm only allowed to stay at the hospital till 9 o'clock at night, and this happened maybe 4 in the afternoon. The next day I go in and I bring all of his stuff because normally the next day he's awake. He spends about 4 days there. They do a bunch of tests. They make sure his medication's good. And then we go home. It's not a big deal. The next day, he's still intubated. He is sedated. He's not responding to medication. They don't know what's wrong with him. His heart rate is dropping. His blood pressure is dropping. And they didn't untube him. And I was like, what the hell? This isn't normal. Like, well, what's going on? They're like, so he has pneumonia. And we're like, well, how did he get pneumonia? We live in Florida. Like, what? How? So they think that he inhaled water. So they start him on an antibiotic for pneumonia. And they're keeping him sedated and intubated. Then the next day, so I'm there 12 hours. Okay. That's Wednesday. Thursday, I go back and I'm thinking, okay, like he should be out of it. This should be good. They're going to take the tube out. This is the longest he's ever been on a breathing tube. And the next day they're like, his kidneys are starting to fail. We're not really sure what's going on. I'm like, what in the fuck? I'm like, he came in here for a seizure. Now he's got pneumonia and his kidneys are failing. By day 4, they're like, we're going to have to put him on dialysis by tomorrow if his kidney function doesn't regain. And it didn't. It just kept dropping and dropping. So then over the next 5 days, he's being treated for pneumonia. His kidneys are failing. He's on dialysis. He's 19 years old. He's on dialysis for 5 days. Like the whole thing, it's horrifying. I mean, for me, we don't know much about the medical industry. This is all new for us. Hospitals, all the things, all the tubes everywhere. It's absolutely horrifying. 5 days on dialysis. there were so many complications during that. He got blood clots literally all over his body. So they started having to put him on medication for blood clots. He formed a large clot in his chest. Everything in his arm started clotting. They couldn't do any more IVs. Complications out the wazoo.
Just one after the other. Every day it was another.
I couldn't believe it. It was like every day was getting worse and worse and worse.
It was another thing.
So here we are. We finally get to like day 10. He has not been awake in 10 days. My son has been sedated, on a breathing tube, on a feeding tube now, on dialysis, you know, and they want to try to wake him up. His kidneys are finally cleaned, right? 5 days on dialysis. Now your blood is clean enough, and they've done all this stuff. And, you know, I mean, the fact that he was on the drug fentanyl, and we all have just heard the fentanyl stuff, and they're like, oh, it's just a pain thing. It's fine. I was like, this feels horrifying. I was like, I'm pretty sure fentanyl kills people. Why is he on fentanyl? So, like, all the things I had to learn during this time over those 10 days, when they finally bring him off dialysis and start waking him up, the medication they were giving him caused severe hallucinations. So for 3 days, my son was out of his mind, delusional, thinking that people in the hospital were trying to kill people, thinking that people died, thinking that he hurt somebody, thinking that I died. Like, it was 3 days of this where he was literally out of his mind. And I kept trying to tell him. I will say one funny quote, because I do think it's very funny. And you have to find, my solace in all of this is that the ICU nurses where we lived, they were amazing. I loved every single one of them. They were so kind. They treated him with compassion. They took care of him while he was sedated for 10 days.
They were all moms.
I mean, yeah, it was just so incredibly wonderful.
There was 3 of them,
Most of them were moms. Yeah, one was an aunt of a couple of young boys. So, like, everybody really understood what I was going through, and they just cared for him so much. But on day 12, when he was coming out of his sort of trippy, and I can't remember the medication they gave him that caused him to have these severe hallucinations. I kept telling him, I'm your mom, and he goes, you're a cross-dresser from Vietnam. You're not my mom. You're not my real mom. You're not my real mom. You're a cross-dresser. And I was like, what the fuck? So, you know, I've never experienced anything like this. I thought
it was an Asian transvestite.
No, I was a cross-dresser from Vietnam. It was very specific, and I don't know why. And, you know, like, he's going through stuff, but I had to find humor in some of this. And of course, the nurses and we all bonded because I was just there so much. And by day 10, I had to start coming in. I came in the morning. I had to take off in the afternoon. This is where self-care starts to really apply for us as spiritual people. It's like, you can be there for your people, but I'm not going to beat myself up that I didn't stay 12 hours. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. I didn't, you know, all these little things. The hospital's only like 10 minutes from my house. I would go home. I'd stay in my garden for the afternoon because that was my therapy. So I found ways to do
therapy.
Self-care.
Therapy, yeah.
I couldn't do things that I needed to think about because I couldn't think, but I needed to be around plants, animals, you know, birds, bees, nature, butterflies, all the things that I've built in that area. So I turned to my yard for my therapy. Finally, April 15th, he finally did get out of the hospital. I do think they released him too soon because he's still not well. He's been recovering in my house, and
we switched kids.
Yeah, my nephew came and lived with.
My grandson lives with me.
Yeah,
but because we figured because of the amount of time that he was sedated, everything that his body had been through,
weak.
Everything that his body had been through was just so awful. I just knew he was going to have a
tough time.
He was going to need recovery time, like downtime. Like, you got to just kind of stay in bed and. Because they let him,
to cater to. He needs that.
They let him out. They let him go home because he was finally able to keep down food because he'd been like throwing up all the time. But so anyway, my other grandson, my youngest grandson, lives. That's Jolene's son, Giovanni. They live with Jamie. And so I said, I think Cameron needs to recover at your house. And so we swapped kids. So I have the youngest one with me who I'm getting to school and work. And then Jamie's nursemaid.
I'm playing nurse to my son, for sure.
Nursemaid to him. And
very difficult. Still difficult.
And he's angry and in pain. And
they switched up all of his seizure medications. They put him on a lot of other stuff and they put him on high doses of things. So we're now in this place where I'm dealing with chasing down medical professionals. Another thing is, like, his insurance just changed over. He's on Medicaid. So all of a sudden, all the doctors we've been seeing for the last year, no
They
longer
went to a
accept
point. You
his
went to a appointment, what, 2 days ago?
Yesterday. No, yesterday.
You went to had a neurologist appointment only to get there to find out that
They don't accept
they
the
don't
insurance
accept the
anymore.
insurance anymore.
Nope.
And these were all doctors that we knew that knew him, and so now and didn't no
everything.
guidance on how to get another doctor. You're just like left on your own. Our healthcare system is so fucked up. Like we're getting or you are, I should say. I'm getting it vicariously through you because I'm learning all of this shit
by proxy.
And so now they're scrambling for doctors, and Jamie's like, okay, the medication, one of these meds, she's reading the side effects of the meds, each one of these new medications that he's on. There's only one that he was on. Keppra was one that he was on before.
He was on before. We already know that doesn't work. So,
Yeah.
and I guess the harder part was all the nurses were so wonderful, but the doctors part of this, they're just coming in there like, we're going to throw this on him, we're going to throw that on him, we're going to give him this med. I'm like, no, he's already been on that. It doesn't work for him. This doesn't actually help. And he gets the bad side effects from this. And nobody was listening to me. And so we're weeks out from this now. You know, they didn't care so much about it while he was being sedated, and they were giving him Keppra that doesn't work for him. But now that he's awake and he feels the effects of it, it's a big fucking deal. And it's a big deal to him. It's a big deal to me that he has to deal with it. So we're now in the phase of like playing catch up, fixing all the shit that the doctors did in the hospital where they're just playing his doctor for 1 day or 2 days. Nope, this is the normal med. Yeah, I understand Keppra is the most common medication to give people with seizures, but like my kid, it doesn't work for him. We've already tried all of that. So that's what I've been dealing with. So that's where this is all of my truth coming out over my absence and my inability to have energy to do anything else other than really sort of care for my family, care for my kid, care for my husband. You know, there's other people in my life that have gone through things that I can't even be there for them because these other two people, like that's all I have the energy for. So I've actually had to make choices on who I can be there for as a shoulder, as somebody who like helps give advice. You know, even when people are dealing with tough times, I'm like, I am so sorry, I have to say no. And saying no for me is hard, like, because I'm such a giver. I love to do for people. I love to help people. That's innate for me. And saying no to people is really fucking hard. And so when I have had to text some of my friends and be like, I should say no. I didn't even say I am saying no. I'd be like, I should say no because all of this is going on. And then they're like, I totally understand. So I couldn't even really say the no. Like, no, I can't do that. It wasn't even that firm because I don't want to say no. I want to do all the things. I want to expend my energy in every direction. But what ends up happening is that then I have nothing left for myself. So in these last 2 months almost, I've had to really decide where my energy goes that's healthy for me and for the people who I guess I deem need it the most right now. That's been very hard. That's shadow work for me because I feel shitty about it. You know, I feel shitty about turning people down or not going to the places, or I make plans with my sister. We're going to go to, you know, we just bought a couple of paddle boards and we're like, let's go out. Let's like do a morning trip to the water because that's our therapy. Then all of a sudden somebody has a surprise appointment I got to take them to. Now there's another doctor's appointment. Now this thing changed and I have to tell her like, I can't go now. I have to change plans. So in some ways it's like I'm there for people, and then other ways I'm letting other people down. And it's
I don't
really
want to
fucking
make
hard
her
on
feel.
me.
She's not let me down, but through all of this, I have lost like my business partner and my BFF because we used to hang out. We used to be together
all the time. I know.
All the time.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
and please don't feel.
I'm going to go home and cry about it now.
Please don't.
No, I'm not. I
but,
know.
you know, not to sound self-centered, which I probably do sound self-centered.
You don't, but it's like your norm gets really interrupted, and then how do you handle it?
Well, so guess what I've done? So my yard is like my biggest... Jamie's like super gardener, right? She's been doing this all of her life. Plus she's got like...
No, I have not been doing it all my life.
It seems like it. Anyway, she has the most beautiful yard ever. And her and her husband are so into gardening. And they have this wonderful yard. Planted all these flowers and all this stuff is growing. It's a certified bee habitat.
It's a certified wildlife refuge.
Yeah, for Florida. So she went and got
For
this
Florida.
certification.
I did.
So she really takes her yard seriously.
I do.
Me, I have what was supposed to be a no maintenance rock front yard that is covered in weeds. And then my backyard, so here we have this thing called Florida snow, and it's just a weed and it covers your whole yard and it just kills the grass. My yard's just a weed fest, and every time I look at it, I'm like, I wish I could just pay somebody like $5,000 to come in and take care of it.
Wipe it all out.
Yeah,
and, like,
exactly.
redo
But
it.
you know what? I'm not going to do that because I'm capable. But I'm just like, I'm a little bit lazy when it comes to it because I get out there and it's,
a
buggy.
slow process.
It's a slow process.
It's a slow process
So
to
what
redo
I've
a
done,
yard.
so what I finally did, because I was sort of like moping around a little bit, because
You were lonely. I know. I'm so sorry.
I was like feeling jealous because I figured her and Jolene were like hanging out at her house having a party every day.
Yeah, she thinks that like there's this
And I'm down here like by myself, like nobody loves me.
and really it's like a struggle bus at my house and we're all just trying to survive and we're only 15 minutes away from each other and then I won't hear from her for days and I'm like, I guess she's okay. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, all this stuff that's going on is like,
Yeah.
I'm being
I mean,
like,
it's your grandson too, you
Yeah,
know?
it's my grandson.
I
Yeah,
know.
like I made him. He loves my fried rice that I make him, and so Monday I made fried rice and I took some up to him and. He was sick, and I went in and kissed him on the forehead, and he was hot. He was running a fever, and
Yeah.
it's just, and he's made the room all dark, and it's super depressing to see it.
He's cold a lot, so he has like fever spikes and stuff. So
But what I've done is I've just decided that because my yard is so overwhelming, I have to take little sections at a time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm taking like one little section at a time and let me weed this out and get this straightened out.
Yes, that's a good way to do it.
And so it's a very small area because that's all that I can handle. Because if I take a big area and then it takes me 2 weekends or 3 weekends to do it, because I only have weekends, I work full time. So I only got Saturday and Sunday, and some Saturdays I don't want to do shit, man. I want to lay on my bed and watch TV and snuggle with my dog. You know,
Catch
I
up on
don't want
Handmaid's Tale?
Yeah, catch up on whatever. You know, I don't want to do anything. I need that time. But anyway,
that's your
good-
self-care part.
Yeah, but when you only have 2 days and you spend one day laying around, you really feel like a loser. But I just have accepted the fact that I need that downtime. That evidently
You need
I
the
need
break.
it.
You need
So
the break, yeah.
I'm going to do it, and I'm not going to feel guilty about it. But it took me a little while to get there. It took me a while not to think of myself in a bad way because I was laying in bed all day on a Saturday. It's just like, you know what? You must need rest because this is where you are. And so,
There's
honor
acceptance.
honor what your body's telling you. But anyway, so I'm starting to work on my yard and doing some things, and I'm kind of starting to get into it a little bit. Tonight when I was waiting for Jamie to get here, I knew she was going to be here at like 7:15, so I had like 30 minutes. So I went out with a trash can because they just hauled all the yard waste away today. I went out with a trash can and pulled weeds and filled like a whole trash can full. I was like, look at you going.
So productive. So Kat and I, because we've got this Virgo rising thing, we are so much about to-do lists, checklists, feeling good about completing tasks. We know that that's one of the things that really we high-five ourselves over this.
Yeah.
So if you have an hour to spare and you do something super productive, you get like 5 stars for that. Not just 1 star, you get like 5 stars. You're like, look at that.
You close
Virgo
all
go.
your rings for the day.
Exactly. It's just like, you are hot shit now. That's sort of what happens in our minds when we just complete a task and like do something and we're like, look at you did this after hours and
Listen, I have been so productive at work this week. I'm so proud of myself. Like, look at you. And I get up every day and I feel good because this is the first week that I'm taking my grandson he's in high school, so he's got to be, we leave at 7. So
That's late.
We leave at 7. It's late? Why? Because
no.
he rode the bus.
He rode the bus, so they left at 6:30.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But
so
you're closer to his school than us.
The school's about 8 minutes away.
Nice.
So, but that means now when the alarm goes off, if I'm going to get the dog walk in before I get the grandson to school, I got to get going, right? Where usually I'm like sleeping in. Usually I'm like
see
sleeping
the
in.
list?
Like, let me.
It feels good to
Let
check
me
things off
sleep
the list.
until 7:30, and I can be to work at 9. But
good to
so
check the
I went
list.
through a period over the winter where I was, and this is kind of like me reflecting back over the winter. I just felt like so, I don't know, lazy.
We were tired.
tired.
No,
really.
You felt tired, like
really tired, like really depleted. Like this winter was hard, and it was cold here, which is unusual.
It was a colder winter than usual.
It was a colder winter than usual.
Yeah.
And even though I'm like, that's the perfect time to work in the yard. It's like, well, who has energy to go work in the yard? Fuck that. Let me snuggle with the dog on my bed. Oh my goodness.
I think the biggest part of that is how we choose to spend our time. Do we say, hey, awesome, good job, high five? Or is it, oh, you lazy piece of shit. Like, what'd you do again this week? You did nothing. Like, what is wrong with you? We hold ourselves to these high standards of do, go, get everything done. But truly, we need the balance of doing and then not doing.
I had an epiphany. So I told you this is the week. Yeah, I just made this connection, right? Okay. So this week I've been super productive at work. This week is the week that I also started, or maybe it was last week. I lose track of the days. But anyway, taking my grandson.
Time's fake anyways.
Taking my grandson to school. So I take grandson to school. Then I stop by Starbucks and get a coffee. Then I take my dog to the park. And so what I do when I get to the park, because the grass is wet and I hate my tennis shoes to be all wet, so I'll switch flip-flops, just flip-flops. And then, but I've been walking in the grass in the morning,
Grounding.
and I just made that connection. I was like, that's
that
why
you're
I'm
grounding,
that I'm feeling grounded from that walk on the grass.
Yeah. I love that.
Yes,
for you.
that's it.
I always go outside barefooted, and I do go, ow, fuck, oh, ah. You know, I step on.
I have to watch for piles of dog shit at the park because some people don't pick up their dog poop.
I have
They
pine
suck.
trees
That
and
sucks.
there's pine cones buried in the grass
You have
sometimes.
you have thick grass. You got just.
Listen, I got stuff, and then I make pathways. I know how to walk through it and be okay.
She's making paths out of bricks and pavers and stuff on the side of the house.
But you know what happens is like little shit falls on the concrete, and you're walking all along thinking you're fine, and you're doing heavy feet, and then all of a sudden there's just like the squirrel chewed up a pine cone, and he left one of the little pieces that has a hook on it. That shit hurts in your foot. Yeah.
For me, it's like walking along, and all of a sudden my heel hits a pebble. Yeah,
instant pain.
Yeah, that's pain.
Or you can think of it like acupuncture. That's called natural acupuncture. Just letting your feet hit the hard stuff.
So that's what's been going on with us.
That was 30 minutes of an update.
Yeah. So I wish we had like a two-way here where we could interact with you guys, because I feel like with the planetary energies that have been happening this year, with certain transits and all this stuff that's going on in the sky, that's been going on in the sky, all these crazy things. And if you don't know the astrology podcast, you can catch up on that. He does a month one. For the month, like looking ahead, and makes all these connections to things that are happening now with things that have happened in the past, and talks about repeating patterns.
Yeah,
and so
patterns
and echoes from the past. And so it's super interesting. The astrology podcast.
And I think that's why the reflection part of this, right?
Yeah.
We're going through it and we're dealing with it. But when we stop to
and I just wonder how all you guys are doing, because we can't be the only ones being impacted by the craziness that's going on in the world all around us. Even if we choose to not pay attention to the news and we're not on social media, there's an energy.
Yeah.
There's a vibration.
It's a shift. Yeah, there's shifting.
Yeah, there's a vibrational thing that's happening, and there's some. What I believe and what I hear Chris Brennan say in his podcast is like, and other astrologers, because I try to just stay focused on astrology when I'm on social media, so I follow different groups and stuff like that and read different astrologers, like they're talking about things. But we're going through a change. I mean, the world is in a period of time where things are going to change, and in 20 years from now, it's going to look a lot different than it does now, but it's going to be better, because some of the old ways that we've been doing things for such a long time, and we can put names to them: racism, misogyny, patriarchy, all this shit. We're
diminishing women.
Yeah, diminishing women and other people, marginalized people.
Yeah.
There's a shift happening in our society, in our world, and it's going to be better. But we're in a period of time where we're just starting this out, and it's hard. It's really hard right now. So We told you all our stuff. I just, if you guys want to comment or reach out to us, and
we're here.
We will definitely respond to you if you'd like to share anything, or kind of get something off your chest that's going on in your life.
Tell us any of your experiences. We've been able to connect with people just through the comments right now. I will address, like, one of the things we normally do in spring is we do a set of lives. And I've been, lives on YouTube, and that's been hard not to do. I've been doing this artistic stuff on my own now, sort of in this solitary way. And I was telling Kat the other day, I really miss that. Like, what we did in the fall where we did all those crafts.
Yeah.
That fed my soul. And just getting together and doing things where you're creating something and having a good time and talking along with it. It felt really good to me. I was like, ooh, I would do so many more of those, like spring and fall lives where we're doing witchy crafts or we're putting stuff together. So there's still that teaching moment, because we want to help bring something to your guys' practice. You can get information by reading a book, but it's a little different when you get to see people interacting and doing it and then try things for yourself and to know that things do not turn out perfect. I think that there's this illusion with you laugh. There's this kind of like
my last project, I put "fuck the patriarchy" upside down in the frame. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
And I'm gonna hang it when we finish it, because we didn't get to finish it. It's gonna get hung upside down. It's like the upside down flag. It's definitely a resistance.
It's just a statement.
It's a fucking statement.
It's a statement.
Yeah. Yeah, so, lives we've talked about.
Lives we haven't been able to do yet, we're hoping to be able to do that at some point as well. But, I think that when you have to take time off from stuff, then you get this backlog of, oh shit, here's all the things I really wanted to do, and like, how do you restart it? That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Like where do we go back and try to catch up all the things that we wanted to do, or do we just start from here and then go forward?
It's tough.
And table some of the ideas and things and plans that we had for earlier this year, for the last 2-3 months that we planned to do,
that we were working on, and then
we were working on.
Happened.
I mean, we have notebooks with plans and things and spreadsheets and.
I need like 30 witches working with me to help everything that I have envisioned come together. I don't know how to make that happen, but it's like we need a bigger team than just Kat and I, because we're idea people.
For sure, listen, if you're near us,
if you want to be recruited,
raise your hand. Speak up, please, because we could totally use an extra person.
Come be a part of this chaos a little bit with us.
You know what? I'll tell you something. If there's anybody that's listening to this that would like to contribute blog posts for our website, if you have something that you'd like to share, talk about, I would totally love somebody, because I haven't written a fucking blog post in a goddamn month and a half.
Oh.
Yeah, I feel like I've neglected everything with the coven. So anyway,
we've neglected our coven.
It's
really. And you know what? Here's what I would love your guys' opinion on. You can leave this comment wherever you're either listening or if you're watching this on YouTube. But would it have been helpful to tell you guys right away we were dealing with tough shit and that we were going to take a break? Because we kind of could have seen this coming. We could have known, especially in March, I could have said, I need to take like a 3-week break because I need to focus on my husband's recovery. When April 1st happened with my son.
Yeah, then that was...
I could have known 3 or 4 days into that, I'd be like, oh shit, this is going to be a long-term thing. This is going really badly.
I didn't see it. I didn't see it turning out that way. I didn't see him in the hospital for 2 weeks and, coming home and still being sick and losing doctors. I didn't foresee any of that shit.
I'll tell you something that I've actually had a really hard time with. My whole life, this isn't just this situation, but even with my very good best friends, I have a hard time telling them about bad news, because for things that already make me feel shitty or bad or oh, this is heavy, this is hard, it's bad news.
Yeah.
I don't like telling other people the bad news. Unfortunately, I've seen stuff on the road when I'm driving to Kat's house, and it makes me really emotional, or I get upset, animals, things, just people, whatever. When I see shit, I get emotionally, distraught over it, and it can last for a while. So I show up here, and I'm all teary-eyed, and she's just like, what happened? Are you okay? And I'm like, like I saw something and I can't undo the scene and I can't undo the feelings. Like that's just who I am. I feel everything very sensitively. And I don't want to tell people about it because I'm like, I'm traumatized. Why do I want to traumatize you by telling you about it? So I hold all this shit in, and I've taken a couple of my very good friends aside and been like, this is really hard for me to tell you because I don't want you to feel what I'm feeling. Like I want to protect people from that bad feeling. That's negative. That's not a great trait to like try to hold it all in and deal with it by yourself. I think that that's a defensive wall that I have so that I don't let people close to me, so that there's not this like shared responsibility of
I think we thought about doing some kind of an update earlier on, didn't we? Like maybe a month ago.
Yeah, before shit got heavy again.
Before it got before the second,
first, like the beginning of March, beginning of April. Yeah. We had some time in there where we could have been like,
I think we thought about putting out something because we had planned to have Witch School launched again in mid-March, and then we saw that was not going to happen. And, we were like, well, we should just put out a video about it and just let people know what's going on in case they're, in case they're wondering or if anybody's waiting for it. So anyway, so the question I guess you want to know is, would it have helped you to know earlier? Would it have made any difference? Would you have appreciated like an earlier update? Because it's been a while since we've had we've had podcasts that were scheduled, so we haven't this one's going to air on May 3rd, Saturday, next Saturday. Is that next Saturday? This will air on May 3rd. But so we could have done something quick and put it up on YouTube, just kind of like, hey, this is what's going on. But I don't know that we had the
capacity.
I don't think that. Especially what you were going through. It was really. She's been through the ring, like my grandson. Like Cameron, he's been through the ringer, and his mother.
Yeah. Watching it all. It's so hard as a parent to watch and feel so incredibly helpless. I think that that's one of the worst parts about being a parent, is that there gets to be a time when you can no longer protect your children from the things that are going to happen to them. You are a bystander, and that fucking kills me. I can't lie. Like I have a very good friend who has a son close to the age of Cameron, and I've seen the things that he's been doing, and her son is doing so good, and I really wanted to reach out and be like, I heart things, right? But I cannot comment because I'm in this place of like, I'm drowning with my kid. Oh, no, no tears. No, I can feel that coming up. And so it's not even like, it's sometimes even hard how to be happy for people that are going through really good things when you are dying inside and you don't want to tell them about it. Like, that's so incredibly hard. Nope.
I told you, cussing, tears, all the things.
At least I waited like 40 minutes into it to cry.
Yeah.
But it's, it's like, I think when people are absent and silent, I think that we intuitively know that something's wrong. And sometimes I appreciate people not reaching out, and then other times I'm like, fuck. I feel a responsibility to the people that I really care for because they want to know. Because they want to be able to, like when Cameron was in the hospital, I had people offering to do like distant Reiki for him. I was like, absolutely, yes, please do that. Lighting candles, doing anything but I'm also not the person that will ask for it. Like, what? This is the screwy part of us, our human selves, trying to be like, no, everything's fine. We're statues. We're stone. Like, nothing affects us. We're good. You don't got to worry about anything. It's not fucking true at all. It's so not true. I'm sensitive and crying all the time. What? So, I don't know. Where was I going with that? I love it.
I don't know. But it's been, and I don't know if you've thought about this, but I actually wasn't sure he was going to make it.
Of course I've thought about it.
It was that bad.
I want to just give a trigger warning because I'm going to say something that I felt, and I whispered to Cameron while he was sedated, because I do believe that his soul could still hear it and everything. So, trigger warning for suicide right now. Please turn this off if you guys, if it's not okay for you. My son has been suicidal for years now, and getting his diagnosis of epilepsy only made that worse, and his medications made it extremely bad. And things that he says to me, which are hard for me to bear, is that he blames me for his pain because I brought him into the world. So while he was sedated, I really felt like this was my opportunity to whisper to his soul. Not him and his human existence, not him and all of his life shit. I was like, Cameron, go seek your answers from your spirit guides. Go find the things. You have a purpose here. Nobody can tell you what that is. Like, only you're going to know. But please go find that purpose and come back here with it, because I know that he is destined for good things, for great things, for helping people. Always has been his whole life. But there's things in the world that make him so sad that he doesn't want to live in the world. That gets hard for him to bear, to see, to witness. Like, he just really wishes he could erase all pain and suffering from the world. He'd live here if there was no pain and suffering. And when I try to explain to him that we come here with a purpose to do things, to spread the lighter message, he gets really pissed at me. Like, he hates that answer, because he's like, you're not doing anything. And that he can feel that way. That's totally fine. But him waking up and coming out of all of this, you know, I knew that while he was in there, he doesn't want to live. And we all discussed it. Jolene and I discussed it. Yeah. I do believe that when people don't want to live, they can make themselves ill enough to not live. Like, I do believe that our will is that strong that if Absolutely. You want to be gone, you will manifest that thing to be gone. Yeah. And what's weird is, like, he had just come off of a medication. He'd been off this medication that was making him super depressed and suicidal a month before this episode happened. So it was sort of surprising that, I mean, I know that he struggles. I know that he struggles. But I believe that when he gets through this, I believe he has great purpose in the world. And I'm going to continue to believe that. And even if he decides to check out, this is not our only lifetime. And I've come to terms with the fact that if my son dies before me, like, I'm going to be okay, because he's not gone. He's on the other side. I'll actually just have another ally on the other side. Everything will be fine with that. Like, I will accept that, because I believe that we live on after this. Like, I'm at least secure enough with my own spirituality to say that if I lose a child, I'm going to be okay. I'm just going to be talking to them like they're still here. There's no way to get around that for me. Like, that's how I had to become okay with it. And I had to do this when he was very young, because I realized that as soon as I had him, I realized how I don't have control. He goes to school and daycare. Other people take him in cars. So much can happen that I don't have control over. And I was like, oh my God, nobody ever told me that having a child makes you realize how little you have control over, like, safety of yourself or other people or anything. You just, all of a sudden, you feel so vulnerable. And so I worked through that for about 1.5 years. Of, like, understanding that, you know, I could have a child and then there could be death with that, and that I would have to experience that, and maybe my soul chose that for this life. I have to accept what I chose that I can't remember. So, yeah, I thought about that, because every system in his body was failing. Brain, heart, lungs, kidneys, everything was failing. Yeah. But
veins.
The blood, the heart, it didn't want to pump. Like, everything that was going on, I had to really come to terms with that.
They put a port
in each side of his neck,
because the veins, because they put so much medication into his veins that...
Well, he has high platelets like I do. I just learned this, that when you have a high platelet count, because I've always given for the Red Cross for people who receive chemo and stuff. So, and when you have, oh my God, I'm forgetting my words. There's a thing. There's a diagnosis.
Blood bank just called me about donating platelets because I have the right type of blood type that they need. And platelets, I did not know this, are only good for like a couple of weeks. So
no, it's not like 5 days.
Oh, no, 5 days. No. Yeah, they don't. Yeah, so as soon as they get the platelets, they go right out to. They think they said the cancer,
leukemia, and chemo. Yes.
Chemo. Yeah, I think that's what they said.
Leukemia is one of the things where that's who I donated for American Red Cross.
Yeah,
I gave to leukemia children. I was on a call list of basically any time that there was something going on, they could call me, and I would be in at 5 a.m. giving platelets because that was how good my platelet count was.
I might have the same thing because I haven't tested that yet.
So here's a crazy thing. If you have a high platelet count, you are more at risk for stroke, heart attack, blood clots. All of those things have to do with clotting your blood in your system, and it's natural. It's a natural occurrence, but we're just at more risk. So they just told me, they're like, you should be taking a baby aspirin every day. You're at a higher risk for stroke, even at my young age. Like, even if I'm healthy, because our blood coagulates. Yes.
Coagulates.
More. Coagulate. Yeah, that one.
Coagulates.
Coagulates. And so Cameron's does. So every single IV they put in him, yes, he was having lots of clots. One of which is stuck in his chest right now that he's taking medication for. So there was just a lot of things.
And then, we're more than a week since he's been home?
8 days today. Yeah.
Okay. And we don't look, it actually, to me, it looks worse than...
It's not worse, but it's definitely not better.
It's not better. Like, they shouldn't have let him out of the hospital. They shouldn't have
let him out.
He needed to be.
It's
because
bullshit.
they changed all his fucking medications.
He should have been under more supervision for the medication changes, And they didn't. And now he's just really sick.
The other thing we're looking at is, like, how can this kid have a normal life? How can we, like, help him to have a normal life when he's dealing with such a...
Yeah, what is normal?
Yeah, what does that look like?
Where is normal?
Jamie heard of a place in Boston that
near
Boston that helps, like, young people
with
like his age with serious medical issues, like become independent.
Yep, there's epilepsy, Down syndrome, Tourette's, autism. So anything where you sort of need people to check in on you. Like, you can live on your own, but there's somebody who is still sort of like, all right, we're doing like a health and welfare check sort of thing, where it doesn't feel like that. It's a dormed style living. They have counselors on, like, at the center. So it's a place where you can get, your counseling done. They can help you go through school. They help you fill out all your forms. They do all it's just this, it's sort of assisted living for young people with disabilities. And they have about 5 cities in the U.S. that do it really, really well. And one is near Boston. And that excites me because then I could go see Tracy, like, if I go up. And in Cameron's there, I could go see one of my good friends. And so we're looking into that. Also, Grand Rapids is just another place that big city, people with epilepsy, people who can't drive, basically, it's just, there's more going on in the city. Can't drive, yeah.
He can't hold a job.
Can't hold a job. Yeah, we're officially applying for SSI, so,
He can't hold a job because he can't stay at the fucking hospital with seizures,
It's tough. It's very tough. So we let you know all of our stuff going on. And really, it's stuff we're dealing with, but it's not personally happening to us, I guess, It's
personally happening to us. It's just not our bodies.
It's not our bodies, but it's our minds, hearts, and souls.
Absolutely.
That's for sure.
Yeah, and it impacts every part of your life.
It does. It just means that now time is always precious. But when people are well and things are good, you have more time to give to all of your projects and the things that you want, and more dedication. And it doesn't feel wrong taking out this alone time and doing a 3-hour car reading for yourself, or waking up at 3 a.m. to watch the moon, set over the ocean, sort of thing. Like, I had freedom, what felt like freedom before all of these things. And now my time feels very constrained because I'm so worried about the people that I love that's where my energy goes to.
Well, and I mean, how many errands, doctor's appointments, trips to the pharmacy,
every day, all day,
something, every single day.
All the time.
Every single day.
All the time. Like, I don't know how many times I go to Publix a day, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
Because there's always like, oh, we needed this. Oh, now we need to switch to something else. Oh, we needed that. And
not only that, but you also take care of your mother-in-law.
And take care of my mother-in-law. Which is minimum. But everything she needs, But
everything she needs, all of her. She's in
2 days are dedicated to her.
She's in assisted living, and she's doing really well. She still needs. She goes to the doctors.
She needs supplies and stuff that they don't provide. So creature comforts, like just things that she doesn't drive anymore. She can't get herself out. So there's things that you still want to take there, and you don't want. If you put somebody in any kind of living situation where they're sort of stuck, who wants to stay there every day, all day? No. Yeah. So I take her to lunch on days, we go out. I've still got to care for her as well. So I will say that a big reflection over the last, year or two has been my life turned into caregiving, which I never saw coming. I never knew I would become a caregiver for people, sort of even nursing. I'm learning a lot about the hospital system, medications. I don't know why I'm getting this knowledge now. It's very interesting. I don't know. I know it's preparing me for something. I don't understand what that is yet, but it's where I'm at. It's the journey that my life has taken, and I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm open to receiving whatever the lessons are and whatever I'm supposed to do, and be there domestically for people and not run away. Because as my life path goes, one of the things for me is solitude, and this is stopping that ability to go in my little cave, as I would say. You know, like I told Tony that tonight. I'm out in the living room painting like one piece of a butterfly. I've got this thing. I'm like just slowly working on a small color, literally paint by numbers. I've never done one. I was like, it's kind of satisfying. Like you don't have to think too much. I need things where I don't have to think, but I need the creative artistic side. And I'm painting by numbers from this little thing from Michael's, and it's like a whole thing of butterflies. I'm like, I can do this. It's like, Here's the color for number 10. Just paint all the little number 10s. I'm good. It's like I'm in my own little mental war, you know? But it just gives me time to sort of sit and be. And remember, like, when we're in that mode of creating and just focusing on that, that is meditation. Your brain waves go to a certain wavelength, and that's healthy for you. That's why I know watering my plants does the same thing. Taking a walk where you're just really in the moment of observing and you're not really thinking, planning, worrying, fretting, what happened yesterday, what's going to be tomorrow. You don't do any of that. And that's where the brain waves that you emit at that time where you get to is the same as meditation, and it's very helpful. So I've learned to accept that. And I know that I don't have the capacity to think a lot. Like the creative side of me is not creating out of thin air. Now I'm just like, this is creative, you know, designing and painting and making sure
That's
I stay
in the line. That's how I kind of feel about my little patches of yard as I'm going one by one. And I'm like, oh, now that I got all the weeds cleared out of there and I've got this like nice smooth area and I took out some dirt, let me put some soil on top of there. I'm going to plant some things and let some ground cover grow.
There you go.
Throw flowers down there or something.
It does help. It does help.
Yeah. And it's become, I'm looking at it going like, I can see where this is going. I'm starting to have this vision of what my backyard is going to look like, and that's
you
motivating.
see the big picture.
That's it's motivating. It makes me want to get out there, and even if I just do a little bit, even if I just fill one trash can or one bag, one lawn waste bag full of weeds because I've got so many of them, it's going to take me, you know, and I give myself the grace to not be so demanding of myself that everything has to be done right and it has to be done right now, because that's the pressure that I put on myself. Like if I can't get out and weed my whole yard, what's the point? You know, right?
If you can't complete the task.
And I mean, so what's the point? It just feels so defeating when you can't do, you know, when you can't like complete a whole project. So I'm learning from that. I'm learning through this little gardening thing that I'm doing out here. I'm like, oh, look at that. And now
just one little stone at a time.
Look at that. Then I'm gonna put some ground cover on there. And when that happens, oh, it's gonna be on like Donkey Kong, man.
Listen, I find things to do, and then I gather all the supplies and I get them and they're all in the right spot, and then I'm like, I lost motivation. I'm going to move on to something else. And my husband's like, can you just complete one project and then move to the next one? Like, you have so many unfinished projects. I'm like, that's because each one takes different energy. And I'm not in that energy right now. I'll come back to that later. Okay, right now I'm in this energy over here. Like, sometimes I'm digging up dirt so I can put stones down.
And that's the life of a witch.
I think so.
I think that's the life of a witch.
I think that
you know, like what energy, where's your energy at today? And what can you do today? And if it's nothing but lay on your bed with your with your cat or your dog or your partner, then that's what it is, because apparently that's what you need.
That's where acceptance comes in.
Yeah.
That I know that I struggle with is just accepting I am where I am and that's okay. I'm trying to use that motto of I am where I am and that's okay. Like for today. That doesn't mean that's my whole life. That doesn't mean I'm going to fall into a slump and never do anything again. It just means that right now.
My grandson,
we got a creeper.
One. Come here. What's up, buddy?
You want to be on the video?
Yeah, come around and say hello. You can come on this backside.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. Not right now.
What are you signaling to me, honey?
I was just asking if you were good.
If we're good? Yeah, we're good. Do you need to go out?
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
Like he's a puppy.
We're recording our podcast for next weekend.
You guys have heard this before. We get interrupted by the children. It's okay.
It's either the dog,
the children, the delivery guy. I don't know. Because this is real life, right? I think that the one thing that I learned in the fall launch of Witch School, I really learned this because, again, our Virgo rising really rules Kat and I. And
we're both Virgo rising, Libra moons, and water signs.
Aren't we a reflection of each other?
We definitely are.
What I've learned...
no wonder this was the easy kid.
Oh, wow.
Of my three, Jamie was
There was
easy.
nothing to figure out.
She was easy, and I didn't really know why. I just thought it was her, but actually it was the combo of us. That we flowed together or whatever, understood each other, of the same.
Yeah, you
kinda,
just get me.
Yeah, yeah, and you got me. But you were saying the list, the things we were just talking about.
Because we're Virgo rising. Yep, that's all I got.
We're like obsessive about getting things done. And if there's any Virgos on here, you know how you are.
I mean,
it's lists and spreadsheets and
we hate to admit
OCD
it,
and perfectionism and all these things. And yeah.
If you want it done right, you gotta do it yourself, sort of thing.
Ooh, that's so bad. That is the worst. I'm the worst at that, honestly. I really am.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but I can assume because I know for me. And it's allowing ourselves to not be perfect. And I think that when I first started teaching witchcraft so many years ago, like this was just a one-on-one thing where I'd meet people interested and then they'd want to talk a lot and, we'd get together and there was always this fear to just get started, to do the first step. And I'm like, I don't know what you're afraid of. Like, just throw some things together, say some words, believe it can be true. And like, then boom, you're done. That's a spell. It's good. And they're like, yeah, but what if I do it wrong? And I'm like, that's the perfectionism when it comes to thinking that spell work or witchcraft or your creative side, artwork, whatever it is, has to be done in this frame that's approved by elsewhere,
the internet,
yourself,
pretty much,
other people?
pretty much the internet. I think the expectation has come from what we see on social media.
Well,
like
now,
if my practice doesn't, I mean, I see all the beautiful videos and people. Oh my God, there's this one I just saw. She's got like the cutest place right by a window with all this stuff hanging around, and people are just in awe of it. And she's sitting there and she's like, she's smoking weed and there's smoke going, and she's just
smoking weed.
She's smoking weed. Yeah, I think she has a bong. Yeah, she's got a bong, and then she's got something else.
Why
that's
didn't you
like
send me the reel? Damn, Mom.
But anyway, her little space that she has by the window, and there's stuff hanging everywhere. There's
aesthetically pleasing.
There's a disco ball that's like kind of like sparkling. Anyway, it's just super cool. And people are asking you, how did you do all that? What? And she's like, this is years of collecting, thrifting, lots of thrifting.
Yeah.
So it's not like we can get to the place when we first start out with our witchcraft practice and we decide we're going to go down this path and take this journey and become this more spiritual person.
It's not like overnight.
Yeah, it doesn't. All the things, I mean,
slow growth.
Yeah, so all the things that you can see in here are things that I had to collect over time. And then I go to my daughter's house and I see all her stuff and I have like witchcraft envy, because she's got so many cool things. She's got like a whole wooden tray filled with amethyst and feathers. And I'm like, I love that. It's so simple, but I love it.
That's just feathers I collect out of my yard.
And amethyst, so the wooden tray with all
my
these little pieces.
My amethyst is from my wedding, yeah.
All
those
these pieces of
pieces.
Oh,
yeah.
See? Takes time to collect it. So yeah, I think there's pressure on us to be some kind of witch.
Like. Yeah. What does it look like?
What does it look like to be some kind of witch that's doing a spell every day? Or, some witches come into this thing, I know how many times a day do you do a spell? I'm like, what? A day?
And you could really think about it as like all the words we speak are spells. The power of our words.
Yeah.
That's probably a good thing I could tell you guys about that might be helpful for learning during this last couple months of like figuring out all the shit we just talked about. When my husband's medical emergency happened, at first it was like, no big deal, everything's fine. It was just kind of like, oh, okay, not a big deal. But then I got there and they're like, this is a big deal. I was like, what the fuck? Like, it threw me for a loop. And then I had to, follow an ambulance to the hospital and they're like, don't follow us. I was like, I'm absolutely following you. What the fuck do you mean? I've never been told that before. I didn't know that they said don't follow the ambulance. What they meant was don't speed behind them and cut people off like they do. So I didn't, even though I really wanted to, but I'm alone in a car with my thoughts going, the first this was no big deal. Now all of a sudden they're like, this is serious? Like, what do I do with that energy that is now seeping out of me? And I have to control a vehicle, which is dangerous. Vehicles kill people, right? Like, I have to be in control of this thing that has a lot of power behind it. And one bad mistake from me, I could take people out. I could take myself out. Like, there's all this other shit going on in my mind. And I had nothing with me, you guys. I was like in weird ass house clothes. I'd probably been in the garden. Like, nothing was serious that day. Now I'm going to the hospital. I have to like show up in front of people and look respectable, maybe? I don't even know. First time this sort of happened like this. So in the car, starting the car and knowing that I can't immediately drive behind the ambulance, which gave me a little bit of fear. I felt like I was going to miss something. I don't know. It was like, it felt weird.
You want to stay close.
You do. I was like, I wanted to hang on to him. I was like, what do you mean? Yeah, I was like, what do you mean this is dangerous now?
If you could have got in the ambulance with him, I'm sure
yes,
you
I
would
would have. Yeah. Because they didn't even let me see him. So I was just like, what in the world? So driving a car with nothing magical on me whatsoever, right? The only thing I had was my words. And where I always return to is my words become a mantra. And I had to say something to myself to, number one, control my fear. Do not spiral out of control. He's not dying. This isn't happening. You know, I'm like, do not go down that rabbit hole of fear of like, what if, and if this fails, and if that fails, and what if. No. I had to stop myself. No, Jamie, you know how powerful thoughts are. Do not go down that road. So then it was number two, what are you going to think for the next 15-minute drive to the hospital? Because you're going to be alone in this car by yourself. I'm not going to turn on Taylor Swift, even though that would be a normal thing for me to do. I can't listen to any other radio stations. I don't want to scream at people on the road. I need to control myself. I need to stay composed to operate a vehicle. What are you going to say to yourself? And all I was saying was, we got very lucky because they caught this just in time. And I needed to feel that all of this happened at the right time. I needed to feel like this was supposed to happen. Even though you get like, okay, your appendix just ruptured and now you're in dire need and nobody knew this was happening over the last 3 days and your body's being poisoned and oh my God, you could die from this because now this is all over other organs. What the fuck? How did we not know this was coming? It was like, you almost want to ask the universe, how did you let this happen? What do you mean? This is my person. Like, all the things you think, I'm such a good person. I don't deserve this. He doesn't deserve this. Like, you know, all the weird shit you think. But truly what it was is, no, this happened and everybody was in the right place at the right time to catch all of this. Like, he's in the right place. The ambulance got to him really fast. Like, everything happened this all happened. We're very lucky because this happened at the right place, right time, everything. And I had to repeat that mantra to myself driving to the hospital, sort of heaving, crying, but almost in like a blank, very like, I was numb. I don't even know what I felt. I couldn't feel. I had to just focus on my thoughts. So in my lowest of low moment, without any of my witchcraft tools, without a crystal on me. I mean, besides like my watch band has crystals, but I didn't even think about that. I thought of nothing other than what am I going to think to myself to push energy out into the universe to say it was supposed to happen this way and everything's going to be okay. We got really lucky because this is the way it happened and everybody was in the right place at the right time to catch this and he's going to be okay because of that. So it's a scare. And I knew that there was going to be thoughts after this like, oh, this happened because, you know, we didn't take a warning sign seriously before, or, I mean, that doesn't happen with appendix, but whatever it is, it's like, there's going to be a thing where you learn from this where, oh, you should have doctor follow-ups, or, hey, you should have got to the doctor sooner for some, like a knee ache or whatever.
There's always what you should have done that may have prevented this from.
Right, and so you
may have. We don't know. We'll never know.
Never know, but it's sort of like, to get through the tough moments when I have nothing else on me, it's my words. Absolutely. It's always my words. It's always a mantra that I create. And it doesn't have to rhyme. It doesn't have to fucking make sense. I did the same thing.
I didn't tell you.
What'd you do? You didn't tell me.
When I drove to the hospital, I said, not today, universe, not today. This is not the day. This is not the day.
For Tony or Cameron, I mean, we had two incidents.
For Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah, the night when I drove up there, I was like, not today. I just kept looking out. It was just not today. I said that's all the way.
The whole way?
All the way. I said, not today. This is not going to be the day.
I think when you know that you have that always in your back pocket, that is what witchcraft is because you know what's powerful, and energy is powerful. Words are powerful. What you believe is powerful.
Yeah.
What you see in your mind is powerful.
What you think about.
What you think about.
We've always said this, what you think about, you bring about, which is why we try not to go down that, rabbit hole of like to spiral into all the things that could potentially go wrong and spend time sitting in that fear, living in that fear. Because at that moment, and I just saw something about this, like when you're anxious and fearful, it's because you're not living in the moment, because you're trying to project into the future, like what's going to happen.
What's going to happen,
And that's why you're feeling that way. So stay in the moment, stay right there with that. And I think maybe that's a good way to wrap this up, is to say, what's ever happening, we can look at the world outside of us. We can look at what's going on in our life. You guys, I'm sure some of you at least have some crazy shit going on in your lives right now.
Yeah.
And, but if we can stay in the moment with our thoughts and our mantras, just the things that we repeat to ourselves, or the things we allow, then I think we can help ourselves stay grounded a little more, or just not spiraling.
It's focused energy.
Focused energy, and then not go to the bad place where you're just living in this anxiety, fear, and reaching for whatever you can reach for.
You feel out of control.
To alleviate that, because then that leads to other things too. So
absolutely, that's what spells are. Spells are more your words and thoughts and energy, because those all help each other. It is less about the herbs, the candles, the crystals. Those are elements we add to help raise our vibration. That is not something that makes your spell work. That's what makes you work better. That's what makes you feel better. When I sage and light a candle and bring crystals in and have herbs from my garden, or the space that I create that's aesthetic and beautiful, and for me it's like I feel more powerful being in that space. But those things do not make the spell that I'm trying to create, the thing that I'm asking for, requesting from the universe, that doesn't make that more powerful because I brought in a 1,500-pound amethyst. That's not it. Focused energy through thoughts is way more powerful than a 1,500-pound amethyst that you can buy at the Arizona gemstone thing. Not that
Where did that come from?
Because I
did you go to the Arizona?
No, I see the thing of like, oh, you brought a little crystal. Like, what's that gonna do? Well, it's not about the crystal. It's not about all the shit you have.
Yeah.
If that was the case, people would be getting what they want more, right? You just go buy a bunch of shit and be like, work for me, motherfucker. Like, no, that's not what it's about.
Do your magic.
Yeah. Hey, I put you all together now. Boom, go do it. You do it. It's about us. Yeah. It's about us and how well we can attune ourselves to what we really want. And you can do that better with mantras, because you start to feel that energy. You start to believe what you're saying, even when it's hard to believe what you're saying, lying to yourself. It's not really a lie. You're just like, this is what I choose to believe, and that's it. It's like flat earthers.
Your reality.
Flat earthers really choose to believe the earth is flat. I mean, that's all.
And let's not get on that
there
subject.
You go. We choose what we believe to be our world. We make it through our beliefs, through our words, and how we feel about stuff. So.
And I have drawn a whole bunch of evil eyes on my little notepad here, and I have no idea why. I had no idea.
Love it. Oh,
I thought it was the sun. I thought it was I thought it was the sun. It's the same. It looks like the astrological symbol for the sun.
Yeah.
But then I'm looking at them and go, no, those are evil eyes.
You know what it reminds me of?
What?
It reminds me of tentacles.
Oh.
So then that just reminded me of a great joke. You know what? We normally have a beautifully written sign off and everything, but I'm going to leave you guys with a very cute joke, okay? How do you make an octopus laugh? Tentacles.
Tentacles.
Tentacles. Oh, tentacles. That's it. And good night, everybody.
All right. So we've gone over like 15 minutes.
Oh, yes.
Over. So sorry about that, for taking up more of your time than usual. This is the date today is April 23rd. This is going to air on May 3rd. So
yes,
we're like 10 days out.
We love you all. Thank you so much for being here. I mean, you guys mean the world to us, and you keep us motivated to continue to better ourselves and to really confront the things that we're afraid of and sort of address stuff and be like, we're doing this. We're putting ourselves out there. And I want to thank you guys for that, because I think that, if I had just stayed behind the scenes with everything, I would not know as much about myself right now as I do if I had just stayed behind a wall, and just done like more one-on-one stuff. This is being able to be here with you guys has grown me, and I really hope that I've been able to help. And me too, grow.
Especially as a newbie. I'm really new to witchcraft now.
You can't say that anymore. You're like 5 or 6 years in.
Well, but when we first started this, I was very new.
Very new. Yeah.
And didn't know much about anything. And then before long, I was teaching a whole beginner witch series. And I'm like, I love this.
You love it.
So
we're just continuing to spread good things that we want to see in the world, and supporting each other is the best that we can do for one another, even when times are really tough. So I will say that some of this felt like talk therapy. Thank you so much for listening to me and being my therapist tonight and just sitting and holding space for me as I talk through all the shit that's been going on in my life. I wish so much that I could see every single one of you and hear about what's going on in your lives. So please leave comments.
Me too.
Reach out to us. I mean, we're here for you as much as we possibly can be electronically through online services. If you're local, we'll meet up. Let's do it. But we're just really grateful to have this space. And thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you all. And good night.
And good night. Bye, witches.
Bye, witches.